has there been new research that says that there's a Department of Defense right now that are involved in protecting the government secrets of the reverse engineering program. That's what a new thread says. We'll discuss that. There's some people out there that said that 100% proof of aliens and that they've talked to them. What else? A lot more on UAP Tuesday here today. It's just me by my lonesome, but I want to talk about these particular things that are out there. There's other stories that we can discuss what the latest is. Not too much on the hearings yet, but that stuff will come. So let's get into it. This is UAP Tuesday. Myself, Kristian Harloff, down to earth. Here it is. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. I appreciate you being here. Let's get into this thing right away. Here it is. All right, you see this tweet here. New research has identified Department of Defense officials suspected of being involved in protecting the government's classified UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineer program. Okay, so the post is an update to a write-up from last year, which is linked up there. The DoD instructions, management, administration, and oversight of the DoD special access programs. The directive, Special Access Programs, SAP Policy, Wilson Davis Memo. The memo can be read in its entirety here. There's a link. I'm going to put this in the link in the description, too, if you want to dive deep into a lot of this stuff. In 2002, Dr. Eric Davis held a meeting with Vice Admiral Thomas Wilson. According to a leaked memo of their interaction, Wilson had been investigating the Special Access Program being used to hide crashed UFO retrieval and reverse engineering efforts by the U.S. government. In 1997, Wilson was advised to dig through the reference group files in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Technology. The suggestion came from Major General H. Marshall Ward. Paul G. Kaminsky was USDAT at this time. Brigadier General Michael Shellenberger is name of the Director of Special Programs for Austat. With this title, Kostanek also took on the role of Director of Special Access Program Coordination Central Office, Executive Secretary of the Special Access Program Oversight Committee, member of the Senior Review Group. It's been restructured several times over the last few decades, but the gatekeeper role of the director has remained the same. The office now contained within the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense of Acquisition and Sustainment. The other names used for the head of this office include the Undersecretary of Defense of Acquisition and the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. So, dives a little bit deep, a little more technical. Davis recently confirmed he was the author of the notes. Special Access Program Policy. The Deputy Secretary of Defense approved a Special Access Program, which became effective September 12, 2024. The reissued DoD directive and DoD instructions set up SAP umbrellas with the compartments and subcompartments contained below them. Each umbrella is placed under the responsibility of an oversight authority. These OAs are tasked with conducting a yearly review of DoD SAPs and making recommendations to the Senior Review Group, who disseminate the information of the Special Access Program Oversight Committee for approval. So they also say that the director is in charge of the day-to-day management of the DoD enterprise and controls access to the members of the Congress. So, I mean, you dive really deep into all of this, and what I think it basically means, like I said, I'm going to put the link in the description there. If all of this is indeed fact, and it's one of those things, again, of like, yeah, there's more and more of these finger pointings of, okay, here's this program. We know what's happening. We know the DoD knows what it is. It also shows that the DoD, oh, we don't know what's going on. Arrow, what's that? Oh, we don't know. And then it's more so like, then you find documents like this. But the question is, and someone will say it in the comments, and rightfully so, well, what's it doing on Reddit? It's fair. It shows that that's usually how people will leak a lot of this stuff because, as we mentioned here since the beginning of this show, mainstream media is in covering this. And it would be interesting to see, because there's two ways to look at it with the mainstream media. I have my opinion of what it is, but there are two ways to look at it. The first is that a reporter over there or any one of the main networks say, hey, you see this? Why don't you look into this? You see this Eric Davis thing and all this stuff. Let's look into this. Let's dive into this and see what it is. And if it's something, we'll report on it. So do your research on it. hey, we made a few phone calls. This is BS. It's going to make us look foolish. We shouldn't do it because we have pretty high up people that are not playing on the side of, Lockheed Martin, who say, no, this is garbage. And then there's the other side of it of just like, we're not dealing with this because we were told to stay away. And I have my opinion on it. I don't know where you guys land. But I think that it's also a bit telling that stuff like this is coming out and being released not too far away from the next hearing. Now, this is the type of stuff that if you can get these things out there, Eric Davis should be testifying at the next hearing. All these other people should be testifying at the next hearing to say, yes, we worked on these things. We touched these things. And I think that, as they mentioned, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for some people who have seen some shit, is what the quote was. Because that's what you need. And if it's stuff like this, it's like, yeah, we have a full-on document that I was part of. I took these notes. I put them down there. I know that we and the DOD have been looking over this program, and we know that this is there. We have these things. We have people who have touched these things, who have worked on these things. You cannot hide it anymore. That type of stuff comes out. That's a way bigger headline this time around. But I think that also ties into the other thing that when I had Matt Laszlo on the show last week, I think the thing that was really discouraging to me was how he was saying that most of Congress isn't really taking this serious. And even the ones that are don't seem to really be that locked in the way we hope and think that they are. For example, Burleson, who's been so vocal about things, and he's convinced now that it's just foreign technology and other things too, yet had no idea. Matt Laszlo knew there was a hearing coming up in November, but he didn't. Oh, they're doing another hearing? How do you not know that? How do you not know that? Oh, interesting, because I have some witnesses I'd like to get in there. How do you not know that? Who's coordinating these things? Or maybe they just don't want a part of it, is the other thing. But it's like, when you have this type of stuff, and I understand, and I think that I've said it many times, that it's an election year, and people are more focused on that, and they're more focused on the election, who's going to be running the country, than they are this, because I figure whoever the new administration is, they can handle this. And there are some people who, as Matt said, that still look at this as very taboo, just think it's a bunch of nonsense. And then the other thing, like even when you look at, so you've got people on both sides of this. When it launched last year, the hearings, and when Grush came out, it seemed like a very bipartisan thing. And then there are always people who are going to be the ones who want the disclosure, and then there's ones who say this stuff doesn't exist. One of those people who are saying it doesn't exist is Elon Musk. He was talking, I think, to like Tucker Carlson or something recently, and said that he's still saying we've never seen. He's like, UFOs are one thing, and he thinks that it's foreign technology. He said, but there's no. We've been in space, we've seen things in space, and we haven't seen any alien form or anything of that nature. If he has the kind of technology that he has, and it's foreign governments, that's a problem. It's a problem. So a lot of people say about this, a problem. That you can't track what the hell this thing is, and who knows? And if I'm running SpaceX, and I'm running it, and I'm in cahoots with the government who's saying, hey, you see anything, you send it to us. You don't tell anybody about it. Anybody asks you about it, doesn't exist. Would make a lot of sense. Protect your own nut, if you will. So I think that I can't take the stuff he says about it as factual at all, because he has invested interest. For sure. And there's just so much that's been talked about, rumored, what's going to happen. You see even Burchett, who's been talking about the witnesses and the things that he's hoping to get, but he's not hopeful. Because they said, Matt Laszlo asked him, he said, what are you hoping, what do you want to happen in this hearing? He said, disclosure, full disclosure, but I'm not going to get that. Now, he has been like the old grouchy grandpa lately, saying, he just is very pessimistic about all of it, and I can't blame him, to be honest. But he's always going to say nothing's going to happen. I don't understand why he's even involved in it, because he always thinks nothing's going to happen. And I think that's, again, fair, because you've got these gatekeepers, as we're looking at this article that I'm talking about, that don't want this stuff out there. Now, there's that report that from Simon Thompson the other day, or I shouldn't say report, but vetted, Patrick had him on the show, and he said that we're getting alien disclosure within 6 months to a year, about as bold of a claim as you can make. And if that's the case, the lead up, you'd assume that something big is going to happen to this hearing to then lead up to that. I am skeptical in the fact that I do think that there's just too many people who don't want this out there. And the idea that you look at this document, the one that I just read, and the fact that it seems pretty clear to me, and I think most people who are watching this channel at least will say, if I put a poll up and I said, do you think the DOD knows about these things, knows about the reverse engineering program, and isn't saying anything on purpose and is hiding things, I feel like if I did a poll, I feel like 90% of you, from the people who are watching this channel, would say that they are hiding things. And I'd be one of those people in the 90%. The Sean Kirkpatrick stuff just, to me, was like, oh, wait a minute. And I think that that's what this Gillibrand hearing is going to be like. It's like, well, that didn't work very well. We had that guy. Nobody trusted him. That didn't work out. So let's get somebody out there that they think that we can trust, but we'll just kind of feed him, the right things to say. We'll say, hey, we're trying here. We'll give them a little tidbit of nothing, make it seem like it's something, and say we're very active and we're trying to do things, and you can trust Arrow, you can trust DOD, and it's really just, Project Blue Book. Nobody trusts them. And I wonder if they're aware of that. I wonder if they look at it, because I think that it was pretty telling when they tried to do that kind of old school way of things where, they had the DOD and Arrow has found nothing. Here are the reporters that we want to bring. We're going to bring in the reporters. We're going to be reporters. How about Ross Coulthard? No, we're not bringing them in. How about, is Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp going to be there? No. They won't be there. Anybody who, Matt Ford, anybody? No. Who? People who don't believe this. Bring them in. And they brought those people in, and then those people said, oh, the DOD and Arrow said there's nothing. They found nothing. There's no report of it. Here it is. Put that out there. This is it. Okay, everybody stop talking about it now. Bye. And that didn't happen. That's what used to happen. They'd be like, oh, official statement from the government. They say, nope, that wasn't Roswell. It's a balloon. Look, here's a picture. There's a balloon. We took a picture with those guys. What about the military guys that say that, no, don't interview them? Just those guys. Take a picture with the goofy balloon. That's it. Oh, you see that? They said it was a balloon. Okay, it's a balloon. Bye. And that's it. But now with social media, don't work that way. And I think that they realize that when they tried to do that thing. And that's why they're going to try to do it again this time. But this time they're going to do it with, no. Look at this guy. This guy here, he's running Arrow. You could trust him. We trust him. You can trust him too. Arrow and DOD, I know that it was some, but now working with Gillibrand and everybody else, no, it's good. Don't take that hearing. Don't take it serious at all, because it's just a bunch of nonsense. I tried to get Gillibrand on this show. Didn't work out. But I'd love to discuss that and see, because I would ask, I say, why should we take this serious? Why should we take, because and it's one of the things that, look, I love what Matt Laszlo is doing. And unfortunately, the first part of my my interview with him got cut off because of sound. But what I said to him was, I said, why is no one else talking to these people? And why are there no reporters on Capitol Hill asking them questions? And he said, I want the competition. I want people to start doing it. I want people to bring this up. Nobody else is doing it. I want to get these people on my show. I can't go to Washington, D.C. I'm not going to do what Laszlo does. He's the best at it. And I don't want to do that. But I'll talk to him here. And I'd ask, why should we trust? Why should we trust you guys? Why should anybody trust you guys when all that stuff went down? Plus the fact that I feel like me and you, person who's watching this right now, know more about this subject and what's going on daily than they do. Because some, I don't know. Remember they asked Gillibrand like 5 months ago about the bill last year when it got gutted. And it was Laszlo who asked her about it. And she's like, oh, I'm pretty sure he got everything he wanted. No, he didn't. That's why they're trying to get it passed again. Oh, yeah, he got everything. He's pretty happy with what he got. No. That's why they keep trying to push it through and the eminent disclosure and all that. Eminent domain, all that stuff. It's not, and a lot of them aren't paying attention to this. They're dealing with 1,000 other things, and this is not the priority of it. It's just like a, hot popular topic. So when Laszlo talks about it, they're like, oh yeah, because they know now when he shows up that he's going to ask the UFO question. They see him and he's the UFO guy. But if more and more people are out there asking those questions, then it becomes more of a Laszlo thing. And there's nothing against Laszlo. He's doing his job. But everybody should be, and Laszlo will tell you the same thing. But everybody should be asking that question. I want him to ask about this. I'm going to send this to Laszlo after this show. You ask anybody about this? What is this? With the DOD and all this? What is this? Is anybody talking about this? I'm going to send this. I'm going to send this to him. And I want to see if, because he asked about the telescope. It's about all those things. And I think these people need to be consistently asked about this stuff all the time. Now, I was at a point, and I still feel this way. I don't know how much letters do, except if you write a letter and you talk about it to your congressman and stuff. That's what I always tell you to do. And there's one part of me that says, okay, maybe it's important because you hear those interviews and they go, well, I get this question asked the most, or I get this letter written the most about this particular topic, and this is what we see all the time, and it's a very pressing thing. Does it really do anything? Does it move the needle at all? Does it really get change going? In the same way that like if a television show gets canceled and people start hashtagging it and hundreds of thousands of people, does it work sometimes? Maybe. I don't know. But more and more people need to be asking these questions, and more people need to be represented by this, because even to get an answer about something like this, like what is it? What does this mean? And Laszlo's going to be exhausted. He's got to be the guy that asks them all this stuff all the time. Hey, Laszlo, ask him this. Hey, Laszlo, if you're not following Matt Laszlo's blog or his website on Askapol, you should, because he's the only one that you're going to get the information from, because nobody else is doing it. And then also tell them, whether it's this show, whether it's Vetted, whether it's Jeremy Corbell, whether it's Matt Ford, or the list goes on and on and on. Tweet at these people and tell them to go on those shows. Talk to the regular people as well. And get on there and have conversations about it. Get the word out there more and more. Besides, the Ross Coultharts of the world, because he's going to get all these people all the time too. But that's where I feel that the community collapses on itself sometimes, right? Because for me, and I've said this, and it's not a hyperbole, I'm 100% telling you the God's honest truth. If I got somebody on my show that I thought was a big get, I wouldn't be like, oh, good, I'm the only one that got it. I'm the only one. And I know that's what reporters do. I'm not a reporter. I guess maybe that's why. Oh, I'm the only one. The exclusive's coming in. I don't give a shit. I want everybody to get the interview with them. Because maybe they say something either different or the same that maybe the people don't watch me. They don't like me. But they watch Patrick. Or they watch, again, Ross Coulthart. They watch somebody else. You get those. You got to share the love. Tell someone else. Like as I would say, you know whose show you should do? Like we had Thomas Jane. You know whose show you should do? You should do this. Get the word out there. Get more people to talk about it. Because that's what's important. If you care about this, if you care about yourself and you care about your channel and your views and your things of that nature, which I understand, that's part of the game also. But it shouldn't be for this. I'm telling you, it shouldn't be for this. It should be like, okay, yeah. You know what? I had Tim Gallaudet on the show. You should talk to Tim Gallaudet. You should do this. You should do that. Everybody should be talking to everybody. Anyway, speaking of Vetted, he had on, well, he didn't have on, he was covering this thing about, and I'm going to be honest, the thing Patrick covered was great, but the interview drove me nuts. But let me play it. Here's a couple clips.
A theoretical physicist who was allegedly part of the CIA's Stargate program has claimed that he has seen an alien talking in a crystal clear 4K video. Let's dive in, see what this is all about. His name is Jack Sarfati, and again, he is a theoretical physicist studying consciousness and quantum physics.
Detail about what you were talking about, evidence of the grays earlier you mentioned?
I got to be careful because I was read into classified information by a guy who shouldn't have showed me what he showed me. So I have to protect my, like Ross Cohort says. But what I can tell you is that I have basically 100% certainty. I have seen a live gray. I've heard it talk. I've seen it in 4K.
Not while doing acid with Timothy Leary. No.
Forget Timothy. There's dead long time. Don't joke about this. This is I'm telling. I'm giving you real information.
I'm sorry. And sources sort of thing.
Real information. This is important information. This changes everybody's conception of reality. Okay, I can tell you that the grays are real. I have seen classified military intelligence vetted from a guy who I know very well, okay? And the grays are real. These tall humanoids, kind of, scary bastards, they're real. And the orbs are real. So I know of those three for sure. I'm sure there are others. Okay, other people say others. I don't know about the Northern. I'm just telling you what I know. I'm just saying what I have seen.
At least three. You're verifying.
Yes, so verifying three from. Let's put it this way: the probability that I've been lied to, it's about 1/100th of 1%. It could always be wrong, right? I can always be, But I have very high confidence, Bayesian statistical confidence, that what I'm telling is the truth and it's real.
So that goes back to the same thing that we talked about when we were talking last week about Simon Thompson saying that we're going to get disclosure of and admittance of alien life in the next 6 months to a year. And then you have Jack talking about how he's seen things he wasn't supposed to see. First thing I want to say, and this is just my opinion, if you have someone on that you're interviewing and you're trying to do, and you're trying whether you believe or not, don't start putting up StreamYard comments in the middle of the thing and goofing around. And maybe they have a good relationship with the guy. I don't know, but he's not wrong. It does take away. It takes it makes the thing goofy, whether you believe it or not. You start cracking around, talking about doing acid and those types of things. It's like, good. You get it, and you're friends with the guy. I understand, but you got it. And good on them for getting the interview. Like I said, I think everybody should be getting the interviews, but take it serious. I'm not saying you have to believe it, but take it serious. Like in having a conversation. My personal opinion is I felt it was disrespectful in the conversation, but I don't know the relationship. In the same way that I have people on my show sometimes and we break each other's chops and things of that nature. Because I think later on he winds up goofing with him and calls him like a schmuck. They clearly are close, but it read wrong to me. But I don't know. Maybe you're watching this, you just felt that they were goofing around. Anyway, point of is less about that, and the idea that this guy said he's seen a 4K video. Where's that video? That game over. Get that video at the hearing. Where's that video? That's it. Show that video at the hearing. Let's go home. Whew. That's it. Done. Nobody talks about this anymore. It's confirmed. Well, everybody would talk about it. Nobody questions this anymore. So you hear that and you go, wait a minute. This guy was shown. He's like, how'd you see it? Well, I was shown from a guy who wasn't probably in it, but I believe him. The next question is, how credible do you find him? In the things that he's, as Patrick set up in the beginning, he allegedly worked for the CIA and had these things. Is he just a guy who's out there talking? In the same way that I said, look, sometimes it depends on how you debut things and how you debut information. I don't know these two guys that are interviewing him. Why did he go to them first and discuss this? Why isn't he talking to a Ross Coulthart or Jeremy Corbell? Do they not want to talk to him? That's happened before, where those guys have said, yeah, you know what? we can't. This doesn't, like, as I was talking about before with the networks. Yeah, we looked into it. Doesn't really seem like something that we feel is credible, so we're not gonna cover it. That happens all the damn time. So then he goes to these two guys, and I don't know these two guys. They could be. If you guys know their channel, and maybe they do other ones, and maybe they take the other interviews seriously, and it's just a relationship that they have with Jack. But I'm curious why he went there first. Let me know if you do watch and you do check it out, because this is because let's say that he's telling the absolute truth. And it doesn't seem like these two guys believed it, because they were kind of goofing around and saying, because it's a wild claim. It's a crazy claim. It is. So, and maybe they don't really, maybe he says a lot of things, and they go, "Oh, here he is again. Here's Uncle Jack coming in to say this time he talked to aliens." Because they do ask him. I will say later on, he asked him, "So what kind of, did he have a personality?" He's like, "What do you mean did I have a personality? Do you have a personality?" He's like, "Well, yeah, he does have a personality." He's like, and if you talk to them, you would assume you could find out if they had a personality or what they were like. He's like, "I don't know. I didn't talk to him." He's like, "I thought you said you did talk to him." So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I just know that if that 4K video actually does exist, somebody needs to get their hands on it, and somebody needs to show that thing at the November hearing, because that's the type of stuff you show that, and then we're going to be talking about this and nothing else. But we shall see. Like I said, shorter show today, but I will cover one more thing, or maybe one or two. But here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, so why we're on the air and why we're doing this. Michael Shellenberger says the U.S. government says it's not hiding a secret UAP program, but dozens of whistleblowers say that it is. And now a new whistleblower has come forward to reveal what the government is hiding, including the name of the secret program, which was revealed here for the first time. So Shellenberger writes this whole thing. Pentagon is illegally hiding secret UFO program from Congress, and this is what whistleblowers allege. New government whistleblower reveals for the first time the name of the unacknowledged special access program for unidentified anomalous phenomenon. General Lloyd Austin testifies before the Senate Armed Services Committee during his confirmation hearing to be the next Secretary of Defense on January 19, 2021. One of Congress's most important responsibilities is oversight of the executive branch in general, and the military and intelligence community in particular. The first article of the United States Constitution specifies this responsibility. The role ensures that powerful governmental entities operate within the bounds of the law, uphold democratic principles, and remain accountable to the American people. This responsibility extends to classified programs like special access programs. By law, the Department of Defense must notify the Gang of Eight, the chairpersons and ranking members of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, and the majority of the minority leaders of the House and Senate, and or the relevant congressional committees about their existence. The National Act of 1947 requires that covert operations and compartmentalized access programs by intelligence agencies, including the military intelligence community, be reported to Congress. Specifically, the president must provide a written finding that justifies covert action and submit it to the House and Senate intelligence committees. While the military and IC may limit the amount of detail shared with Congress, the constitutional and legal responsibility remains. Sunshine remains the best disinfectant. Readers are, of course, welcome to disbelieve the whistleblowers and the evidence they provide of UAPs. I do not claim to know what they are. There is, however, a growing body of evidence that the government is not being transparent about what it knows about UAPs, and that elements within the military and IC are in violation of their constitutional duty to notify Congress of their operations. Over the last 4 days, a Pentagon spokesperson repeatedly promised to respond to public questions but did not do so. We will update this article with their response should they decide to provide one. So they follow this up. There's no evidence that any non-human or extraterrestrial intelligence has visited Earth, according to a May 2024 report by the Office of the Pentagon, created in 2022 to study unidentified anomalous phenomenon, formerly called UFOs. The Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, assesses that the inaccurate claim that the USG is reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology and it is hiding from Congress is in large part, the report concluded, the result of circulating reporting from a group of individuals who believe this to be the case despite the lack of any evidence. That, of course, is from what we were talking about before in that report that was released from all those reporters that they wanted to report on. The former director of AARO has resigned his position and has repeatedly dismissed and ridiculed the topic, claiming the talk of the phenomenon is due mainly to a small group of individuals in the grip of a rumor-based religion. But critics say that AARO's 63-page history of the U.S. government's investigation into UAPs since the end of World War II was riddled with factual errors and poor referencing, including to Wikipedia. And the document was missing historical information that appeared in the 117-page UAP timeline document created by a former or existing U.S. government intelligence officer that published last year. Christopher Mellon, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense under President George W. Bush, wrote a lengthy rebuttal concluding, "This is the most error-ridden and unsatisfactory government report I can recall reading during or after decades of governmental service." And major political figures, including Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, Senator Marco Rubio, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and both Democrats and Republicans in Congress have vouched for the credibility of UAP witnesses and whistleblowers. "I've interviewed some solid people," said former President Trump in September, "great pilots for the Air Force, etc. They've seen things they cannot explain." Trump has repeatedly said the government has information about UAPs that it has not released. In 2020, during a podcast with his son, Trump said, "I won't talk to you about what I know, but it's very interesting." In June of this year, Trump said that the government has information about UAPs that has not been released. In 2021, former CIA Director John Brennan said, "I think some of the phenomena we might be seeing." In 2021, former CIA Director John Brennan said, "I think some of the phenomena we may be seeing continue to be unexplained and might be some kind of phenomenon that results from something that we don't yet understand and could inform some type of activity that might say constitutes a different form of life." The same year, the current Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, said UAPs could constitute human intelligence, NHI. And then after that, it kind of keeps breaking down the things that have been happening. But this is a really interesting thing here from Michael. So I would recommend going and check that out. Like I said, I'll post these in the description. But this just goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show. There's more and more people who are coming out and saying, no, this is not true what they're telling you. This is, we do have a thing. And it's also why the whistleblowers won't talk to AARO. And even when you have people saying, no, we believe the whistleblowers. We want to talk to them. And nobody wants to talk to you. Why? Because they don't trust you. They don't think it's true. It's telling that he's like, okay, well, they said they're going to respond to us. It's been 3 days, nothing. This is one of those topics. They just like, I just wonder. I'm so curious, and we'll never know. And maybe we will. I don't know. But the people who do know, and they're just like, what's the conversation that they're having right now? It's one of many things, I guess. But the two that go on in my head are, yeah, same old. This time, this person's talking. They're saying they're trying to make a push. They're doing some hearing, whatever, too. And we told so-and-so to say this and this. And they're not even taking it seriously. They're fine. We're good. It's okay. Yeah, now they'll just make us think about it. And then the next thing, they're going to try to push that bill. Nothing will happen. We got so-and-so in the pockets, and we're good. What do we have? How are they breaking through the hole there? Everything good? Or, holy shit, man. These people are relentless. This might be the end of it. There's only how much we've tried everything. All the old tricks aren't working. I think it's a mixture of both. And it's a mixture of something like kind of right in between. But I don't know. What do you guys think about all this? As I said, it's going to be a shorter episode today, but I just wanted to cover some of it. Tell me what you think. Put your thoughts in there. You guys have been so active. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. If you want to help out the channel, become a member. We do exclusive videos for you guys. I do kind of behind the scenes stuff and all those things, and it just supports the channel overall. You get some questions in there and things of that nature. So check us out. All right, thanks for being here. We'll be back with another video tomorrow. It is Down to Earth with me, Kristian Harloff. It's UAP Tuesday. See you later. Bye.